and welcome to the FTS podcast, Friends Talking Shop. We are on episode 13. Glad that you survived with us this long, especially if you are one of our sisters. Thanks for listening, because I think that's half our audience. I'm your host, Dave, and it's a nice June day. Happy June for you guys. It's we've made it to summer.
No, not yet, technically. Not technically yet. June 21st is the first day.
Has the groundhog come out?
No,
yeah,
but according to my calendar, summer starts June 1st.
That's an interesting calendar you have. Is that the Far Side calendar?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Let me introduce you to two of my co-hosts who remain the same. I've not been able to improve as much as I'm trying. First, let me welcome Josh. Josh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm recovering a little bit from a procedure that I'll talk about later today.
Oh, teaser.
Yes.
Teaser.
Yes, teaser. That's
And
what
then
we in the business call a teaser.
All right, looking forward to that. And our third host, as always, is Omar. Omar, how are you doing?
I saw the doctor last week when I was in New York, and I know this is going to be, I know you guys are going to probably jump on me about this, but I'm kind of like Ronnie from Stern Show, Josh.
Yeah.
I did not let him do the prostate exam. I skipped it this year. I couldn't do it.
Okay, we can get into that with my topic, but
anyway, I'm doing great. I'm very happy. I'm a little bruised from something that happened last week.
So you did get the prostate exam?
No. This is the bruise that won't go away, unfortunately.
Oh, this is a different bruise.
Yeah, which I will hopefully be able to address in a very open way, which could be actually very it's risky, but I'm gonna go public because I don't care.
All right.
I'm basically I'm like Sarah Palin when she was running with John McCain. I'm going fucking rogue.
Okay.
You're going rogue.
All right.
That's right. She went
Josh,
rogue.
Are you old enough to get the prostate exam? Have you had the?
Well, you might be infringing upon my topic, Dave.
All right.
I do want to talk about a procedure that I had.
It sounds like you've already been infringed, if you know what I mean.
That is I don't know if I want to call that a tease. That's a warning. That's
more of a tickle.
Yeah, a little bit of a tickle.
Well, I'll go first since we'll save the best for last. Mine is I actually like my topic.
Oh, do you want to tell people?
By the way,
tell people about how they get to
By the way, yes.
Oh, sorry, I jumped the gun.
I was going to remind everyone what the podcast is all about. Thank you, Josh. What we do, we're three good friends. Actually,
well, two might be accurate.
Good friends and one other.
Yes.
Get together and we do this podcast. What we do is we each think of a topic. We don't share it with each other. We just blurt it out here on the podcast. We each take our turns to do that, and then we react to it in a hilarious fashion. And by episode 13,
hilarious,
running smoothly.
That's what we're hoping.
We're hilarious. Like, who declared it hilarious fashion? Is that what you think it is?
You know why? Because when I put the podcast thing together and put it into the feed, it says, "What's the topic?" I choose comedy. Therefore, by definition, it's
on my license, I choose 6 feet tall. I ain't 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a cop and everybody else who sees the license knows that.
Yeah.
That's not subjective. Height is not subjective.
I've been told that we're hilarious.
Listen, they won't let you label it comedy unless you're hilarious. It rejects that label.
It would be
That's what I heard.
That's right.
That's what I heard.
Spotify would stop it.
Correct.
Okay. So also what's hilarious is our email address if you want to get in touch with us. Our email address is friends@fts.media. I'm a little concerned that no one's listening because I have not seen an email from on that account in a while. So we're desperately begging you to send us an email, even if it's, I don't know, a single emoji would be fine.
A death threat. We'll take death threats.
No, we actually have an email.
We do?
I have it in my possession right now.
Wonderful. Okay,
right.
Never mind.
Right.
We don't have to beg anymore.
Yeah.
All right. We are brought to you by Bamboo Rum, and by saying that, we expect to get a case for each of us.
Yes.
All right. So ready to get started?
Let's do it.
So my topic this week is I had a very stand-up comedian focused week this week. It started with Omar sent a recommendation to us to listen to Ricky Gervais. on Netflix, which we all watched, and we were commenting that we all enjoyed that. He's kind of a mean comic. He's not as clever as he's more mean. Like I feel like that's the funny part is he's just sort of a crass, mean guy.
But isn't that clever in and of itself?
To be mean?
Yeah, but mean in a funny way. You can be mean, but mean in a funny way.
Yeah, that's exactly.
But like there are some who are like, that is brilliant. And then he's like, yeah, it's funny because it's like, you're really sticking it to people.
Well, do you enjoy a roast? A roast is all mean.
Yeah.
But it's hilarious.
That's true. Yeah. I have been roasted, and I thought most of it was funny.
Yes, you have. That's right.
Then it went to I noticed that oh my gosh, who's the guy that just died? He's also has a Netflix special.
Bob Saget, Norm Macdonald.
Norm Macdonald, thank you.
Yes.
Norm Macdonald popped up on Netflix. He did a hour-plus session right before he passed. He wanted to get material out. Maybe he knew he was. I think he knew he was sick, but he did an hour just in his Zoom camera, which was some funny, some not. I don't know. Have you guys seen that Norm Macdonald?
I gotta watch.
I did. It reminded me of Christopher Hitchens. Like when he wrote the book about like as he was dying, like what it felt like to die, and
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Norm Macdonald was obviously a little bit more highbrow.
Yeah, Hitchens is not that funny.
Kidding.
Yeah, that's I was gonna say what?
Surprisingly a very handsome man.
Well, and a lot of his comedy is timing for like the audience to like interact, and I felt like it lost something in just obviously without but he in particular I think is very much of the timing and his jokes and things, so there's something lost. But what I thought was really I loved was afterward there's a panel that discussed the hour that he went through and just generally his life. It included David Letterman,
Dave
Chappelle, Conan O'Brien, Molly Shannon, Adam Sandler, and David Spade.
Wow.
What a run that is, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I got to watch that. I have not seen it.
That was pretty good. I bought tickets to go see Gary Goldman. I'm going to see him in a week. So
nice.
He's in St. Louis.
Very good.
One of my favorites.
Him. He's hilarious.
But I think the capper of my stand-up comedian, and this is what I want to ask you, is I started watching the HBO special, 2-part special on George Carlin.
Loved it. Watched it.
So
phenomenal.
What I wanted to ask you guys is, I recall when I was, I think in grade school or junior high, do you remember you used to get free HBO, and like I would sneak around, not tell my parents that it was on, so you could watch what it was ever HBO was showing. And I remember George Carlin was on one of those free HBO weekends, and I watched it, and like it was an epiphany of that. I thought things were funny, but I didn't realize like what this was. This was an eye-opening experience of like Wait,
did you tell you that when you first met Josh and I as well?
I don't think he used those exact words.
Yeah, no? The epiphany. It's not as strong. Similar. But it was just an eye opener of like, this is a whole new comedy. I had a little bit of that when I saw Airplane as well. Like, this is different. This is new. But I know George Carlin, I hadn't really thought about that until I saw a special. I remembered like that was a defining moment in what comedy is to me, is watching.
Oh yeah.
It's not just his dirty words. It's just, he remember him talking about the difference between football and baseball. He had a whole thing about Rice Krispies, and the football and baseball is so good. Have you heard like the difference between football?
Yeah, he did that on SNL, I think, when he hosted SNL, because he was the first host of SNL. I think he did that bit from what I remember. But that's
he was the first host of SNL.
First host ever.
He was the
SNL.
first host. Yeah. Yes. That's on the special. Where it's like, in football, it's all about football's tough and baseball. Yeah,
baseball's right.
So he goes at the end, football, you do an aerial attack and sometimes a ground offense against a wave of defenders, and you want to get into the enemy territory and get across the goal line to score. In baseball, you go home. It's like such a he's so brilliant. It was so good. So I was going to ask you guys, what has been the like milestones of comedy in terms of stand-up comedians to you? What, like,
oh my God,
you go back to a particular moment or a comedian where it was like, light went on, the life is different?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, George Carlin. What I didn't realize, I was always a big George Carlin fan, and I actually saw him live.
You did? Wow.
I did in Atlantic City with my wife, and we went, got tickets last minute, and it was awesome. I mean, and it was an incredibly. What's amazing about Carlin is his progression, because he was like I didn't realize what a different comic he was when he was first on the scene, and how he wanted to be an actor. Because when you catch him, when we did, because of our age, you caught him in the 90s, basically. And that's
very
when he started
political.
to get, he started to get that edge.
Right.
And he just got darker and darker. And his comedy's so like anybody else's, because he's not telling jokes. He's just telling you what he sees and how messed up what he sees
I have a
is.
question.
And he does it
David,
in such a funny way.
Is this topic, because I mean, this is basically, we're all going to pick comedians who are very old.
No.
Are we going to have like a Metamucil commercial? Is that going to be one of our sponsors? Is that why we're doing this conversation?
He wants you to pick a memory that changed.
I understand, but my point is our memories of our first like meaningful comedic moments are going to be memories half of our audience have never heard of the comedians before. Because they weren't even alive then.
They're all relevant now. Like Carlin is very much in the zeitgeist.
Wait, hold on.
Ask your kids if they know who George Carlin is.
They don't.
You think our kids are listening to my podcast?
That's where I got the emails from about the question.
Tell my dad to shut up. Yeah.
I'll tell you. One of the first comics I ever saw live was someone that everyone knows who they are. Howie Mandel.
Who? Harry Hamlin?
I saw Howie Mandel. Harry Hamlin. I saw Howie Mandel live at Valley Forge in the round. You know what in the round is, where the stage goes around and it's in one big circle?
Yep.
And I remember I went with my parents, first of all, and they took me because I loved Howie Mandel. And he did so many like sexual innuendos that I didn't even understand. Like my parents how awkward it must have been for my parents to explain it.
Yeah,
I don't remember. No, 5. I don't know. I don't know 13? How old I was. Maybe 10. I guess.
Were you an only child?
No, I have a younger sister, but she wasn't there.
Did your parents enjoy it?
They loved it.
I grew up Pakistani, right? So I was supposed to be a doctor and blah 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 blah.
Right.
And my parents never took me to anything ever. But except one time, I convinced my dad. My dad took me to a professional wrestling match.
And that's why they didn't take anything after that.
Yeah, and the star billing that night was Wahoo McDaniel.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, so Josh, you were saying your memory about.
But I'm just saying, that was a light bulb for me, because I'm like, I loved it so much that I just dove into stand-up comedy, and I couldn't get enough of it after that. I've been to so many stand-up comedy concerts. Seinfeld, Louis C.K., who's, I guess you're not allowed to say his name anymore.
Yes, you are.
Are you? He was back, by the way. He has a new special, Post Is Me Too, which I thought was really funny, but I don't know.
Where is that
you
at?
You just can't say his name on Twitter. So we're not
right.
on Twitter right now. So
it's ridiculous. This is what bothers me about, look, obviously his situation's different.
That's why Ricky Gervais's special was so good, right?
It's so good. Exactly. He's like, screw this. I don't care what people.
For the audience, Ricky Gervais was in the original Office, but he's a stand-up comedian. He's a very funny guy who has no problem saying the uncomfortable. He loves the awkward moments. He embraces them and points them out.
And he's not afraid to get canceled or, that nonsense.
Yeah.
But
he soft-pedaled it some. Like he would throw out some people under the bus, and then he'd say, it's comedy. Like, why are you getting all upset? Like he didn't stick with it. Like I think Norm Macdonald says, and Dave Chappelle just says it and doesn't apologize.
But I think he's doing it tongue-in-cheek. I think he's soft-pedaling it tongue-in-cheek. He's like almost saying like, don't worry, I don't really mean it. Like it's obvious that he doesn't really mean it. Like he does
some of it.
Yeah, like he does the bit about like Daniel Tosh did a bit about raping a baby, right? And at the end of it, he's like, "What are you getting all upset? It's completely fictional. You can't, it's raping babies."
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they're bringing up the absurd and how we get upset with the absurd when it's completely not even in the realm of realism. It's amazing. But Howie Mandel did a bit. I remember to this day. It was a stupid joke. But he's like, we went to a restaurant and the waiter came, and I'm like, ooh, the waiter came. And I didn't understand that at all as a kid. I'm like 10 years old. And I had to turn to my parents. I'm like, what? Why is that funny? Why is everyone laughing? And they explained to me what that actually meant. And I'm like, oh, okay.
What, they explained it to you?
Yes, they explained it to me.
They did? Wow.
Yes.
Progressive parents.
My parents are very progressive. They took me to the Howie Mandel concert.
Yeah.
By the way, Dave, they had that conversation post Howie Mandel at the nudist colony. That's where they spent that week.
That's right.
Yeah. Then it started. Well, Josh, when a man loves a woman.
Yeah. But George Carlin, man, he is another level, and he was the best. I remember when we went to see that concert, he started off. This is how dark he was. Started off talking about how on the way to the show he saw a car accident. And he knew there was a car accident up ahead, and he was hoping that they were using the jaws of life so he could see and I'm like, oh my God! But it was hilarious. It was just hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone else who could do that.
Yeah, that's comedians that could, kind of say. Well, I thought Louis C.K. for a while, like he would say like the worst things, and it just kind of got away with it. And there's just some that can do that, right? But
that's right. Sarah Silverman.
Yeah, that's right. She can do it too. Yeah.
Although, do you agree, Ricky Gervais he's the one who was like, I gotta say, shout out to all the funny female comedians such as he couldn't come on. I think that's
hilarious.
True. Yeah.
No, I don't, because then he did it again. He's like, no, seriously. And then he did it. He did the third time. He went back to that well on the same joke, and it's just funny. It's just really, because it's not what he actually thinks, but he wants to get a rise out of the audience. That's what's so great about it.
Yeah.
That's a good foundation for some pretty amazing comedy too.
But it is changing. It is changing. Now you got to worry about offending someone and someone rushing the stage.
It's changing, but that's also why comedy is, not to get ridiculous, but is so important. And if you maintain your old school, if you will, or approach from like 3 years ago, that in and of itself is showing that you're a thought leader, because everybody else is like curtailing their comedy because they can't talk about certain things. And so, I think it's changing, but for a lot of comedians, hopefully it won't change.
But they have to apologize. This is what happens. Is like, the Gilbert Gottfried, another a hilarious guy who just died. His whole thing where he got canceled from Aflac for his tweet, which is friggin' hilarious.
That's a duck.
But you have to compartmentalize these people. They're comedians. That's their job. Nothing is too soon. That's the whole point of comedy, is to make people laugh regardless of subject. If a politician tweeted what Gilbert Gottfried tweeted, what got him fired from Aflac, that's another story, because that's consider the source.
Yeah. Well, it should be a safe space, I think.
Yes,
for
of
sure.
Course.
I feel that's true. I do think that things are potentially changing about that. And a lot of comedians now, it's more about this. It's storytelling a lot. But it's more of their journey. I think like Mike Birbiglia, his sort of style of comedy, where it's more of a storytelling.
Question on that, Josh. I was thinking, because you are. I don't know anyone who watches more comedy than you do. Because I don't know anyone else who really does. I guess now apparently Dave does. Dave loves stand up. But it's pretty rare for me to watch it, but I do watch them, the Chappelles and whatever else. But when you're watching a comedy special, okay, what is because for me, like even with Dave Chappelle or like Louis C.K. or guys like that who are that good, like I laugh at like 70%. Like I openly laugh at maybe a 25%, and maybe 70% I find to be funny. The other 30% I'm like, okay, like what's a good ratio for you to say a special? Is that 70% really high? Is this a weird question?
Look, it's not a weird question. It's like, but there's a huge difference. It's like almost like sports. There's a huge difference between watching it on TV and being there.
Yeah.
And also just
interesting. I guess
listening and also listening without watching. Because I do listen to a lot of comedy too, especially like if I'm on a long road trip.
A higher bar.
Yeah, but the difference is like if I listen to comedy, I tend to want to know who they are, so I know their mannerisms prior, so I can kind of picture that in my head. Of course, because if you listen to think about this.
Why can't you put this kind of preparation into your work, Josh?
Because my work is not as important, Omar. No, look.
Let's get that on tape.
Look, here's the difference. If you go to a show, you go to a concert, right? You're already invested. You spent the money. You've showered. You've gotten dressed. You've made the trip to see them. You are now already invested. You've already bought in, and you're in deep. You're involved in you're focused. You're narrowly focused into that stage on every word they say and their mannerisms, and it's hilarious. I've had plenty of shows where I've seen them live, and I've like came back and went, that was hilarious. That was a great hour and a half, whatever. And then I've listened to the album later and thought it wasn't as funny. Yeah. I'm like, that wasn't as funny as when I was there live.
When you left the show the next day, did you ever call your parents to ask them about certain joke maybe you didn't understand?
Explain to you.
Was it a one-time thing?
Yeah, not now. I had to do that up until the age of 12 or 13, and then I started to get it. Yeah, then I started to understand what the waiter came meant.
but of course you are still making them take you to the shows.
Well, of course, yeah. Why? I don't want to pay for the ticket.
Just the dirty ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if stand-up comedy is like hockey. In live, it's great. On TV, it sucks.
No, I don't think it sucks on TV because we all watched Gervais. It was great. But when you're watching on TV, you get distracted. You get distracted by your phone or someone else comes in a room or something else distracts you. You're not all the way in like you are when you're at a show, and it's so different.
Are we ever gonna get to who I'm gonna say?
Yes, please.
No, we're gonna move on.
You don't need to raise your hand. Feel free to. Hey, Omar, what about you? What are your transformational comedians in your life?
So when you asked the question, I thought you started with transformational, and I know what you're gonna say next. So I thought maybe you're gonna say book, And so my brain went to Ayn Rand. I'm not kidding. It's true. Atlas Shrugged, or The Stand. No, The Stand.
What are we being punked?
No, I'm just saying that's the book. But then you said comedian. So Wait,
you do like the book Atlas Shrugged?
It's been the most impactful. Somebody asked me this question like a few months ago, and I thought about it, and I'm like, do I even have an answer to this? I said the Bible.
You Paul Ryan?
I've never read the Bible, so I'm like, that's probably not. I gotta give a remote answer, And I really thought about it, and it was Atlas Shrugged for when I read it in my life. It was very, very impactful. But anyway, that's another thread. But for comedians, it was Gary Shandling.
Oh yes,
I love Gary Shandling, and actually I think on one of our previous podcasts, I even sang the opening.
You did,
I think, you did
before we cut you off.
I think that. He has zero impact on me. I've not heard I've never crossed paths with seeing a special or I don't know why. But I hear he's great. So I need to search him
funny.
Out.
Yeah. So if you like the George Carlin documentary, that was done by Judd Apatow. He does one on Gary Shandling.
Okay.
Which they were very close.
Phenomenal.
Judd Apatow was like he looked up to Jerry Shandling as many people did and do.
And Gary Shandling, what's amazing about Gary Shandling is he wrote everything down.
Yeah.
So Judd had like thousands and thousands of pages of notes from his life, and that might be more fascinating than the Carlin one. I love the Carlin one because I love Carlin, but the Shandling
these guys are so prolific. Their brains don't turn off.
Amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing.
And it really is an act. Like it's not just a funny joke. It's timing, which has got to be rehearsed over and over, even the pauses and everything. It's amazing how.
Did you ever watch the Larry Sanders Show, Dave?
No, that's the thing.
Somehow
I missed Gary Shandling. Yeah.
Oh, it was great. It was great.
Josh, how do you think that's aged, the Larry Sanders Show?
It's aged well because I've started watching it again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can get it on HBO Max,
You know what, I'm gonna start watching it again.
watch it again. It's great. It's
I was gonna start
really
watching East Down and Out again.
That's a great show too. Eastbound and Down.
Well, here, let me finish my topic. If
Yeah,
you had to
please.
pick one comedian for the rest of your
hard.
life, you pick one.
That's hard. Obviously it has to be someone alive because you're not going to get any new material.
No,
So
it's
picking
funny.
someone
None
dead.
of us said Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, I don't. Listen,
Yeah,
here you want to talk about.
He hasn't been funny in a while.
I agree.
Listen, you want to talk about holding up. When I was a kid, I got Eddie Murphy Raw and Delirious. I asked for that. I got those cassettes.
And you had that red leather jacket, right?
I did not have the red leather jacket. Couldn't pull it off.
The pants.
But those were albums I listened to over and over and over again because I think now that I look back on it, because he was so vulgar that as a kid I was like, whoa, this is funny. Right. This is funny. This is hilarious the way. And that was very rare because I also remember this. Speaking of Eddie Murphy, when Beverly Hills Cop, the original, came out, I remember there was a story on it where they counted the number of times they said fuck. And that was reported because it was on the news. Like, oh, Beverly Hills Cop is out and they say the F word 58 times and everyone's outraged. Well, it's norm now. Every movie says it 58 times, if not 158 times. So it's not as shocking anymore. And so when you go back to listen to Raw and Delirious, they're not nearly as funny as I remember them. It's a shame, but they're just not. Whereas Carlin, you go back and listen to all those albums, starting, by the way, once he started to get his real voice, not the earlier stuff.
Yeah.
And they hold up unbelievably. They're hilarious. They're still funny to this day. I think I listened to It's Bad For You.
So Josh, who's your pick? Who's your pick to answer Dave's question?
God, that's so difficult. It's so hard. I don't know. Who do you say, Dave? Let me think about it.
I would pick Brian Regan.
Really?
He just, to me, is just for pound, just the funniest guy. Like if he could live forever and just keep generating new material, what he's doing just makes me just laugh all the time.
Isn't he the second baseman for the Braves?
What? He is the second baseman. When he turns double plays, they're hilarious.
What?
No, Brian Regan is legit. You can't say Brian Regan's not.
He's funny.
Ronald Reagan?
He's funny, but
Brian Regan, do not. Comedians look up to Brian Regan that are current now because
comedians who are midgets.
No, that he can do clean, and not that that's a requirement for me, but it's just legit funny. He's Seinfeld, very Seinfeld-like.
Just to clarify, when you say look up to him, are these physically short, like height challenged people, or you mean like metaphorically?
No, he's not.
He's a tall man.
He must be very tall. Yes,
he is
okay.
a tall man. Because I meant more.
I would say Norm Macdonald.
No.
I love Norm. I do.
I love.
Listen,
Norm
I love Norm Macdonald too,
love
but
him.
I
love his timing. I love his just.
Yes, his cadence is phenomenal.
Brilliant.
Uncle whatever jokes. Love. Well, just pick one that
listen
in the top.
As far as clean goes, I'm gonna go Gaffigan and Seinfeld. As far as political goes, I loved Carlin. Bill Maher is hilarious. But as far as just like others, Louis C.K. is amazing. But like someone like Greg Giraldo, I don't know if you know Greg Giraldo, but he died real young.
Rachel Maddow?
Greg Giraldo. He was hilarious. He had 2 albums.
Who
that
are
was
these
it.
People?
Hilarious. He was, by the way, Harvard educated, and then was going to be, I think, either a doctor or an attorney, and then left the profession to do stand-up comedy. It's unheard of.
Yeah.
But he was so funny and just died way too young.
Have you guys ever I dated a comedian for a little bit, but I would talk to her about like if I had the skill set to be able to do it, to actually go up. I've never done it. I've never gone to like a amateur hour or like. Have you guys?
I was this close.
And Josh, we know someone who actually just did it. Fred. Did I talk to you about this?
Oh,
Fred?
Yes, that's right.
He did a 5 to 10 minute set, and it was actually pretty good. And I thought of getting him on the show because this is a topic we like, and talking about the experience of actually doing it. Because I say all the time, like I could do that. Like I think I could do that.
What is his name again?
Fred.
Oh my God! Are you saying there's somebody actually interesting on this planet who has the name Fred?
There is.
Hey, my brother-in-law's name is Fred.
Is that the one who's the racist?
No, not him. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
You know, this is a podcast. This is not. Yeah, this is just us talking. Or maybe it is. Omar, you've got a new topic for us, a doozy. You've called it. You've announced it days and days ago. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I'm not sure if I announced it as much as I wanted to figure out when our next. I was incensed last week.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, well then let's do Josh's. Josh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Omar.
Yeah.
No, we can go to Josh.
No, Omar, you're
you started
right on
your
stage.
path.
The mic's in front of you.
Come on.
Yeah. So, all right. So, look, I don't know how many. I know we have a solid following in Uganda and in Moscow.
We do.
But I think we do have some listeners in New York as well. So, and who can relate to this perhaps a little more. And this is certainly like, WPP, as my friends say. What can I say that? Actually, maybe I shouldn't say that. Let's call it RPP, rich people problems. But there is a certain restaurant. I have my local restaurants in New York, and my wife by far is Raoul's, and it's my special place, and I've eaten there like over 500 times, and it's always special when I go there. But I really wanted to. I'm like, this year I decided I really wanted to maybe make Carbone part of that family. It's close to my house, close to Soho. I'm like, I want to go to Carbone. Now and when you court in a Carbone, it's a very hard reservation to get.
Can't get in.
I just went there a few weeks ago.
There you go.
And you
gotta know Dave.
Gotta know Dave. Yeah, exactly.
Gotta know somebody that Dave knows. Yep.
Exactly. So at any rate, when it comes to a restaurant, it's almost like courting a lover. Like that. You have to be very like intentional, right? And I was, and I'm quite charming in restaurants. I can be at least. And
outside of restaurants, you're a train wreck.
Yes. That part I left unsaid for a reason, I guess.
Yeah.
But so at any rate, went there like 3 or 4 times. Tipped very, very well. Tip the maitre d', tip the hostess, bartender, like the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And then I even rented a private room for an event for like 20 people.
Okay.
I heard you guys at that? No, you weren't. But quite a few people were. That was again, a private room rental.
Yeah.
And then I was emailing with the guy, and I went there this past week with my best friend, Brett. He invited one of his friends, who's this wonderful, incredibly talented like designer, whose name is Kid Super. The guy was like,
is that the birth name?
Not his birth name, but he was like he is like PhD in like mathematics, and then stopped doing it, and then became a designer. And he's like a really successful designer. He's just brilliant, has like high operating on both sides of his brain. Him, and then my goddaughter, and then LD was there actually.
Okay, all right.
Anyway, long story short is the whole experience was just horrible. The waiter was arrogant. Not only to me, not only were they rushing, and it was also rude to Madison, my goddaughter. The experience was just, I felt like I was a tourist, and I was being ushered out, which you basically were. And so, the event sucked, right? Like, you have special time with each other, and if those moments are important. So
this is the private room. This is not the private room.
We're still at Carbone's.
It's in the restaurant.
Yeah, Carbone.
Yeah. So it sucked, and I'm like, okay, like.
Did you tip the maitre d' that night?
I did tip him as I was sitting, and as I left, I didn't say anything, and I probably should have then. But the next day I saw Madison, and she also told me like how she felt and some certain things that I wasn't aware of. Which further, I couldn't believe this happened, right? It's just wrong in any restaurant, especially like, I mean,
help us out here. Yeah. Give us a specific example of something.
Did they not laugh at a joke?
Offensive.
Yeah. So basically, one of the things, for example, was that the waiter, as they tend to be there, because they make you feel like you're lucky to be able to get in that place.
Yeah, right.
Half of them are really rude, and it's like you're lucky to be even waited upon. This is more so than most restaurants I've been to, if not, the most. But also, he wouldn't, as he was talking to me, he was very like, again, impatient and somewhat curt, which is fine. But then I was called over into another conversation. I found out the next day, and he was Madison tried to take over, and he was ignoring her. And she tried to talk to him 3 separate times. He's like, I'll wait for him to be done. And they wouldn't even look at her, which I found out, which was annoying. And another situation was, they wouldn't let us order another course of food towards the end of the meal.
The spicy rigatoni?
Because this is 45 minutes before we were supposed to leave the table, and they wouldn't send us another course of food. They go, no, there's no time for that. There's another table coming.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was even worse than that. But so I wrote them an email, and can I read the email? And then responded. So the email
Dearest Carbone,
this is your wife.
I was at your place a fortnight ago.
So just wanted to say that the service last night was incredibly legendarily rude. It was one of the most uncomfortable dinners I've ever been to in my life. I was with my best friend, goddaughter, and we all felt like we were being ushered out from the moment we sat down. The spicy rigatoni moment was particularly outrageous. That was the one where they wouldn't.
Oh, you tried to get that. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The waiter was particularly
delicious,
rude.
by the way. It's very good.
Very good.
Yeah, it's very good.
I had 3 or 4 helpings. It was never.
Like my goddaughter.
They kept serving it to you?
Yeah, I was like, please stop.
It is addictive. It is addictive. Anyway, so I basically wrote them. So I said, if I know now how the waiter acted toward my goddaughter, I may have actually had words with him. Anyway, I said, you guys are incredibly popular, etc. So this may not mean anything to you. It means a lot to me. Just want to let you know.
Did you tip the waiter that evening?
Yes, a lot.
Why?
Because they're waiters and it's their job.
He's
and
courting them.
But he's being an ass. He's not earning that tip. You have to earn the tip. You don't just automatically get it just because you're a waiter.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I know we came up on a call on one of our earlier chats, but I'm pretty consistent about it, even if they're.
But you realize that makes no sense. You're sending mixed signals.
I know.
But you're probably afraid of being blackballed then, because that'll seal the deal, right?
I think that's kind of my goal at this point, actually.
Oh,
everyone loves Carbone. How about I'll be a contrarian?
Because it's good.
And I'm like, well, parts of it are good.
You don't have to eat there. There are other places.
I'm gonna eat there. These places need to be exposed. God damn it! I'm basically the Geraldo Rivera of this crew. Next week, by the way, I'm going to go to. I'm going to find. I've discovered Jimmy Hoffa's coffin, his body.
But this could turn out to be good. So did they respond?
They responded.
No, they did.
Said, I appreciate, but it was okay. I'll read it to you. I appreciate you sending this note. I've shared your experience with the team because this is not the kind of experience we want our guests to have.
Okay.
It's just to hear how your service impacted your experience on Wednesday, and I am sorry I wasn't able to turn it around for you in the moment. Because he did come over when I had to basically say to him, "Are you really not going to serve us more spicy rigatoni? Is this conversation actually happening?" And he goes, and he did bring it. Then he goes, "I hope you give us a chance to make it up to you. We valued having you in each time you dined with us, and I'll make sure you've had a better time next time around. Please stay in touch."
And did he give you a coupon for some happy teasers?
It's almost like a form email. It's almost like a form email. So,
but it's not.
Are
you insane? They respond.
Really?
Yes, you are insane. They didn't have to respond to you at all. They responded to you and apologized. Whether it's first of all, it's not form. And they apologize. So I mean, was it from a specific person, or does it just say?
It was from Max.
Okay, so there you go.
I mean, and he said, "We appreciate every time you come in," as if it was. Was that a generic statement, or do you think that they are aware of the times you've been in? Do they know that when you come in?
Look, these kinds of conversations. It's obviously, I guess they want to. It's their job to make each person who comes in there feel like they're their favorite, person.
Of course, that's what they're paying for.
So I suppose.
Did you play the race card? You should have played the race card.
Oh man,
good. Are you guys telling me that email response should alleviate me putting a
yes.
Yes. It's a ticket to you to go back though.
That was my whole thing. Like my Salman Rushdie moment. That's what I was so excited to do it.
Dave's right.
The fatwa.
Listen, that's fine, but Dave's right. Now it's on you to go back there and see if Max makes it
like,
up to you.
Josh, we're gonna be maybe in New York at the same point. It's and like, would you want to go there?
Yeah,
You
for the
should.
sake of
The
it, for the
spicy
sake of
rigatoni
this
is
story,
excellent.
100%. I can't have spice. I have acid reflux. For the sake of this story, of course, I'll have the mild rigatoni. Do
Okay,
they
you
have
want
that?
to know what? You want to know what? You know what?
That'll go over
I'm
perfect.
gonna respond to him and say, can we get a table June 8th or
There you
whatever,
go.
June 18th, whatever it is.
P.S. Can you give us a non-spicy rigatoni? That's going to
Yes.
go over like a lead balloon. I can't wait for this all to go down.
Listen, Omar, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here.
I can't. There's no fatwa.
There's no fatwa. What you had was what others call a bad experience, and you can have that at Chili's and Applebee's.
No, that's
Yes, you can. You
David,
can have.
I've had up this track.
I've had bad waiters. Bad waiters at multiple places where they're just shitty for one reason or another, and you just had one bad experience. You said you've been there with a private event. You didn't mention anything bad about that. Would you have a bad experience with the private event when you had the private room?
No, it was lovely.
Okay, so you had one guy who had a bad night.
Actually,
write
a
off the whole
bad night
place.
is like a ticket to like your relationship, because now you have the makeup dining experience. You've gone, you have a bad experience, you've made them apologize. Now the ball's in your court.
Yeah, this could actually work out real well for you. And by the way, you live in such a bubble that this one experience has thrown you into such a tizzy that most people experience this.
Okay, wait a second. So the reason why, if it was like a dinner with you, Josh, with all due respect, it'd be a little different. But I was with like my best friend who I see maybe 10 times a year.
I get it, but that shouldn't sour your time with them.
Our New York City nights together are very rare.
Okay.
So,
all right. Listen, I get it. But
maybe you guys are right. Okay, you want to know what? I'm not declaring a fatwa.
No. Listen, what you told me, like, I was expecting them to like literally shit in your rigatoni, and
Well, who knows what they did in the back?
Yeah, who knows after that? That's one reason why I never complain about anything, because I've seen too many shows on Fox late at night where they, where restaurants attack or whatever the hell it is, where they show the one guy was spraying like Windex on a cake. I'm like, I don't want any of that nonsense. So I'll just suck it up and just whatever you give me is fine. But you just had a waiter with a bad night. Maybe he had who knows, maybe his dog died before he left for work. Who the hell knows?
They deserve a second chance.
Whatever.
They responded to your email. Give them a second chance. 2 strikes, you're out.
They could have ignored your email. They could have ignored your email. They could have just given you a form. That doesn't sound like a form letter to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few more layers here, but I think you guys are right. You guys make some good points.
Yeah.
Take me to Carbone's and let's give Peace a chance.
The problem is your life is so charming that any little sidestep in it throws you for a loop. You got to get with the regular folk who get this shit thrown at them all the time.
No, it's funny that you say that. I was with Miles the other day, and my doggo.
Your dog.
And I remembered, and I left him in the car for like a minute to go to the ATM. And I had this like, oh shit, what if he paws and he's walking around the car and he paws and he locks the doors of the car. I'm like, I'd have to like, whatever. So I like,
don't you have a key fob?
And it got me thinking about that happened to me once. It was when I had Lou in my car in New York, like 15 years ago, and I was broke. Anyway, Lou did it, and it was locked out, and I couldn't afford to call like a person
locksmith?
to like a locksmith. I literally had no money.
The police.
My credit card was like maxed out. No, I swear to God. But those moments are important to remember.
Those moments have escaped you. You've
I think I'm pretty. I try and be intentionally very aware of like,
No matter what you say next to this, the answer is false. I'm very aware of fill in the blank.
You're not. You want to talk about rich people problems? I've been with you at an Outback, and you didn't complain. You didn't stop complaining the entire time.
I do. I remember that.
That's because I had one of our friends giving me a lap dance the entire time.
I don't.
No, I don't remember that at all. But I don't remember that. But
our friend who remained unnamed.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Don't remember.
I don't remember that at all. But you just complained the entire time just because you were in an Outback.
If I'm going to be in Vegas, I don't want to go to Outback Steakhouse.
That was the joy of it. The joy of it was there was 10 or 11 of us.
The ironic thing about that, there was an Outback like a block away, and we ended up going like 10 miles.
Hilarious. That's fun.
It's about the experience. That was not my finest moment. It was.
No, it wasn't. You were crying bitch that night.
Yeah. It wasn't.
All right.
All right, Josh, I need to hear about your medical story here.
Okay.
But we've actually solved I think we're helping you, Omar.
I think
you go back, get some of that spicy rigatoni and ship some over to St. Louis. It's very good. By the way, this podcast is sponsored by Carbones. And
Carbones, fine family dining.
All right. Medical report.
Okay, so you guys are old and older than me, so you've probably gone through this, but I just want to swap notes with you. I'm going to put all modesty aside here and just fill you in on the experience I just had. And I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm just going to say, look, this is what happened. I'm a human being. It happens to human beings, and I'm not afraid to share this with you. But so I had my first colonoscopy yesterday.
You passed on anesthesia?
Yeah, no, I did not pass on the anesthesia. Have you? Let's start. Have you two both had a colonoscopy?
Yeah,
you both had one, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the prep for this, because that was easily the worst part. And and I'm curious to hear your the reason I'm going to tell you this story in such full detail is because I need to hear what your experiences were like.
I thought this was old hat for you though, Josh. Isn't this the same prep as like at post eating Mexican food?
I don't like Mexican food.
Oh, I thought it was your.
I'm not a fan.
Position. Oh.
No, I did. Yeah, but I'm just not a fan of Mexican food.
Okay,
but anyway. So look.
Go on, Joshy.
Go so look, I got sent a page of directions. Multiple pages of directions, what I could eat, what I couldn't eat. The days before, what I had to take out of my diet, and blah blah blah. The day before is when it all hit the fan, literally and figuratively. Look, it starts out where I can't eat any solid foods. It has to be all clear liquid. So I'm eating broth and Jello and shit like that. It's just junk and crap, and I'm starving. And then in the afternoon, I had to take Dulcolax pills, right? And I'm looking at the sheet. I'm like, take.
Oh, not liquid?
Hold on. This is what it was on my instructions.
David, are we really having this conversation, David?
Yeah, we're having it.
Oh yeah, we're knee deep in it, as it were.
We're gonna be deeper than that.
This is the Mucilex, by the way. Our Mucilex is also a sponsor.
It came around.
Not Mucilex. Not Mucilex.
Mucinex, yeah.
Mucinex and Miralax. You're combining two drugs. So Dulcolax is the pills. So I had to take 4 of those, all right, in the early afternoon, right? And I read the box, and you're only supposed to take 1 or 2. Okay, that's number 1. So I popped 4, right? I'm like, okay, whatever. And then a couple hours later, I then had to drink 64 ounces of Gatorade mixed with an entire bottle of Miralax.
What color Gatorade was it?
Clear. It was froth.
Was it 0 calorie, or was it like when it was one of the 0 calorie ones?
No, it wasn't 0 calorie.
Was it like the Boost or the special?
I can't remember what it's called. If Glacier, I think it's called Glacier or Frost. It was clear. It was almost clear.
I thought Josh should be a Powerade guy, not a Gatorade.
You can't. No, I'm a Gatorade guy, but you can't have any red, blue, purple, or orange. So you have to have
Twizzlers or Tic Tacs.
No. You can't have any. Those are solids. I can't have any solids. But you had this, you said. Didn't you do this?
Yeah, I forgot that. What happened years ago?
So the Miralax, you're only supposed to do a capful according to the directions. But the doctor said I had to use the entire bottle. The entire friggin' this was, let me tell you something. I even said it to my wife. I'm like, this seems like a lot. This is a comical amount of laxative. I'm eating 4 times the amount of the average Dulcolax, and then I'm having, I don't know, 10x the amount of Miralax that you're supposed to have. This was enough laxative to kill a horse, I think. That's how much laxative that I ingested. So I drink the 64 ounces, which by the way was painful. First, I'm like, oh, this
is your wife? Has she rented a hotel for the night?
No. She was there. She was there the whole. She was there the whole way.
She's staring at the dishwasher like that. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm drinking the Miralax. Tough to get down, by the way. It's like law of diminishing returns. You're like, your first glass of Gatorade's fine. Your second glass not as fine, and then it goes downhill from there. Now it's like, I don't want to drink any more of this. And it says I have to drink all of it. And 64 ounces, by the way, is a lot of friggin' Gatorade. I don't know if you can realize how much 64 ounces. But anyway, so I'm sitting on the couch. It's about, I don't know, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And I am watching TV, and I'm just waiting. I got another glass of this shit in front of me, and I'm just kind of like, all right. When's it going to happen? And I'm getting prepped. I got the bathroom prepped upstairs. I got my iPad in there waiting because I know I'm going to be in there a while. And I'm just getting prepped. Well, wouldn't you know it? My wife even says, like, you should go to the downstairs bathroom. I'm like, no, I'm going upstairs. That's my sanctuary. I'm not going to do it here in the friggin' hallway.
Do you go to the same bathroom as your wife?
Yeah. It's the bathroom in our bedroom, our master bath.
Okay.
So yes, but we have a bathroom on the main floor, and that's what she's like. You should just go into that one. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that.
We have neighbors. Yeah.
Well, it's not. It's just like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't need to be in the middle of all you guys, the kids and you, and just expelling my whole damn insides. I want to go upstairs away from everybody in my own little cave, my back cave.
Why did she want you to do it downstairs?
Because she has done this before. She's had one last year or the year before. She said,
think you're going to make it?
Yes, that's what she goes. She goes, look, once this hits, it hits hard. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I can do it.
Here's my question. You have a TV upstairs?
No, I have my iPad, so I can watch TV on my iPad.
Yeah, why didn't you stay in close proximity?
Because I was watching with my wife. I was watching a show with my wife downstairs. So I'm like, whatever. So I'm like, oh.
What show are you watching?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Omar. It doesn't matter. We were watching Jeopardy, all right? Is that what you want to hear, Jeopardy? We're watching Jeopardy.
Who is the host?
I think Mayim Bialik. No, it was Ken Jennings.
What was the double Jeopardy question?
Guys, listen. It's true. There's certain shows that can elicit certain emotions, which can maybe increase.
Yes, I don't think it was the show. I think it was the 85 pounds of laxative that the doctor instructed me to ingest over a short period of time.
All right.
Potables for 100.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I'm sitting. I'm like, I think it'll take some time to get into my system and make it happen. But I was wrong. And I'm sitting there, I go, oh, and she goes, go. And I go up, I try to go upstairs.
You didn't make it.
I didn't make it.
Oh no.
I didn't make it. And I shit myself about 15 feet away from the toilet. I mean, there was no holding it. It was impossible. It was impossible.
Yeah.
Do you know how, like, when you have an urge and you're in a spot where you can't
just officially lost. Look, I can see a tracker to forecast we just lost all of our subscribers.
Maybe, but I have to get this out. I have to get this out.
Well, apparently you have to get it out in the stairs.
Yes,
too,
I mean that. Yes.
Yeah, that's the theme of this.
So,
topic.
By the way, this doesn't end. This is not ending. So I go into the bathroom, and obviously my pants are ruined.
You're wearing your favorite white sweatpants?
No, that's exactly. I was wearing silk pajamas. And it's just a shit show, and I mean that with all meanings of that phrase. And it's awful. I mean, it's just.
Family know when it happened that it happened to you. Other people know. Who knows at this point? Just you?
My wife.
Oh, she.
And my kids know.
I got a question. So was the first thing she said, like, are you okay, or something compassionate, or was it, I told you?
No, I screamed, I didn't make it. I screamed downstairs, Lise, I didn't make it. Bring me a pair of clean underwear. Yeah, that's exactly how that went down. That's exactly how that went down.
No.
And she did. She was very sweet, brought me a pair of clean underwear, and I gave her the old, and that was the end of that. So that's how much she loves me. So anyway, so I'm in there for a long time. I'm in there for a couple hours, and I'm not exaggerating, hours, really? Because every time I thought that it was done, I'm like, should I get up? I think it's done. And then I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna get up, and I'm like, nope, another round, another explosion. I mean, it was just ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So, what the hell is Omar doing?
Yeah,
Unbelievable. If anyone could see this,
he couldn't take the story any longer.
Is he running to the bathroom? Does he did I just stir something up in him?
Well, you can't see this, but Omar has run off camera into the kitchen. But
yes,
he did say you watch some shows and it will elicit a response. Maybe
that's what did it to him. That's what did it to him. So anyway.
It made him thirsty for Gatorade, apparently.
For Gatorade.
So.
I put the
Powerade.
Powerade.
Yeah.
Powerade is the carbone of energy drinks. So anyway, so I think I'm finally done, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I get up.
What point did your wife say, "I told you so"? Has
she said it yet? She said immediately. She's like, I told you just to go to the bathroom closest, and I didn't. And I didn't listen. I said you were right. You were absolutely right. But anyway, so then I'm like, I'm gonna shower.
Yeah, Josh.
In all fairness,
I don't think you had anywhere to go with that. You gotta have to agree with her.
Of course I agreed with her. 100%. Are you kidding me? I shit my pants.
Yeah.
How do I argue no? No, what are you talking about? I barely shit my pants. There's no barely shitting your pants. You shit your pants or you don't. Barely means nothing. So I take it. She goes, don't take a shower. I go, what are you talking about? I feel disgusting. She goes, don't. You're not done. I'm like, no, I'm done. I think I lost like 12 pounds. I'm done. She goes, don't take a shower. I said, I'm taking a shower. I don't care. I took a shower, right?
Oh,
well,
no.
Sure enough, we get into bed.
Wrong again.
And I'm like, you know what? I am not going to go to sleep because if I go to sleep, I might shit this bed. If she's right. That's what I was thinking, Omar. Because my stomach would like growl a little bit. I'm like, is this it? So I stayed up. I was just watching TV, just staying up. And sure enough, thank God I did, because at 1 a.m, I had to beeline it again right to the bathroom. And I made it, thankfully. Made it, right? 1 a.m. Then I thought, okay, I'm done. I go to sleep. I got to wake up tomorrow because I have my colonoscopy. This was yesterday. I had to wake up for it. And she was taking me.
It was the wrong day.
No. Yeah. That was, by the way, I had that nightmare that night. I'm like, where they're like, sorry,
this is Wednesday.
We can't take you today. I'm like, oh my God. I would have lost my shit. You ever see that movie with Michael Douglas, Falling Down?
Yeah.
That's what it would have been like. I would have gone ape shit on that place. Anyway, the next morning, she told me, by the way.
Fun with all that, by the way.
Yeah, right. She goes, you're done. I was done at midnight. You're done. I'm like, okay, good. Well, the next morning, I was not done. I then went back in the morning for another round, and I'm like, how much is possibly in me? I don't even understand.
Before the colonoscopy.
Before the colonoscopy in the morning, boom, right back in, right in my saddle, ruining another toilet, gone. Right? Here's the worst part. I haven't even told you the end of it. I then go to the colonoscopy, right? Now I'm thinking, maybe I'm not done. What if they put me under and I just shit all over the doctor? What if it just what if that happens?
That actually happens sometimes.
So I had no choice, Omar. I was debating with myself. I had to tell the doctor. I'm like, Doc, I don't know if I'm done. So I'm just going to give you a warning. I don't know what's going to happen once I go under. He goes, don't worry.
Son, this isn't our first rodeo.
Yeah, exactly. We're prepared for that.
OD'd.
We have a suction device. I'm like, oh, okay. It better be industrial strength. So they give me the propofol, which by the way is amazing.
Oh,
amazing.
Oh my God.
That's what like Michael Jackson took to fall asleep.
Yes.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
If I could use that on like half of my manager calls, it would be amazing. You know.
I was out like a light. It was unbelievable. What's amazing is you wake up and it's like nothing happened.
I know, right?
It's like nothing happened. I'm like, is that it? Am I done? She's like, yeah, you're good. You're done. I'm like, okay. And she said to me, so this is what the nurse said to me. She goes, look, take your time getting up and getting dressed. But I'm going to let you know that your abdomen is filled with air because of the procedure. So you're going to have a lot of gas. So feel free to let it out. In fact, we encourage it. Let it out. I'm like, are you sure? And she goes, yeah, it's going to be good for you. You'll feel better. Believe me, I've heard everything. So I'm like, fine. Well, I felt it. And so I'm farting up a storm. I like let out some good ones. I'm like, and I did feel better. I'm like, oh yeah, she's right. Good. I feel better. I get dressed. They gave me some graham crackers. I get dressed, and I'm like, I can't have anything left in me. I go. My wife walking me to the car. I was a little groggy, and I'm like, let's go home. I want to go home, but I'm starving. She's like, well, let's pick up something on the way. I'm like, great. Let's pick up something on the way. So we go. We're in the park.
Your wife wearing a hazmat suit.
No, she is not. But I'm going to tell you she should have been. So we're in the parking garage, and we're walking to the car, and I feel like, oh, I got more gas. Well,
once
not
again,
so much.
Another.
Oh my God.
I fart, but it's a little more than that, and I just sprayed myself in the parking garage.
Wow.
And I'm going, oh my God, it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. And I'm going, what do I do? What do I do now? What do I do now? What do I do? Thankfully, she had a tissue box, brand new, full of tissues in her car. I'm like, okay, good. Because it was
what did you do with tissue?
What do you mean? What did I do with the tissues? I cleaned myself up a little bit, and then shoved some. Yeah, in the parking garage.
Why would you just like lay in the back?
Did anybody throw you any money when they saw you doing this?
No, thankfully I was waiting. I was waiting for lulls where there are no cars coming through.
Oh my God!
You just dropped your drawers and cleaned yourself up, right?
A little bit. I hid behind my car.
David, I think we should have sensors on some of these topics.
I'm
overboard.
I'm letting you know what happened because I need to know if does this happen to anybody else with a colonoscopy, or is because this can't be the normal case. It can't be.
I've only had my own experience, but mine was like, you take this, you drink that.
Yeah.
For like 2 hours, it was like, whoa. And then it was just like whatever I was drinking, because you had to drink water, like it was just kind of going through. And then like I was pretty much cleared out after a couple hours. But, that I kept drinking water and having broth, like that would kind of cycle right through me. But like none of that happened.
Yes, that's what I need to know, because I have to do this again in 5 years.
Did they find something?
They found a polyp. Thankfully, it was fine, and they took it out.
I had the same thing.
They'll do a biopsy, so I'll find out in 10 days, but the doc doesn't think it's anything.
Yeah.
Oh.
But this is what's crazy. Oh, I forgot to tell you this part. So I must have cleared everything, because as I'm getting dressed, I can overhear the room next to me. And the doc is telling the guy, listen, did you do the regimen exactly as I said? The guy's like, yeah, I did. He goes, because we found a lot of fecal matter in your colon, and we weren't able to get a good read. We had to go in there and scrape it out, and then we finally were. And I'm like, they didn't say any of that to me, so clearly I was, I was wet and wild. But there's no way that guy, there's no way that dude next to me ingested the heapings of amount of laxative that I did and still had fecal matter in his colon.
Your doctor clearly screwed up,
Did he? It's in a form. Do you think he wrote it especially for me? Like,
none of us did that nonsense. I didn't do it. You have a quack.
I don't have a quack.
Does he have the last name? This is your
Boom
proctologist.
Bots. His name's Boom Bots.
Boom.
Wait,
That's fake. That's not
kidding.
right.
I'm kidding.
Does his license plate have Ass Man on it?
Yes, he's the Ass Man. He's Cosmo Kramer, the Ass Man. But okay, so look, that's what I need to know, because I described that laxative to another friend of mine, and they're like, "Whoa, that sounds like a lot. I didn't have to take that much." And I'm going, "Well, that's what it says on my sheet." So
it was a glorious experience for me. So
in a good way? Are you saying that tongue
in a good way? In a good way. It was wonderful. Like
what way?
It was cleansing. It was like so cleansing.
Well, listen,
And
I'm sure it's but here's my other problem, Omar. I'm afraid to fart. I'm afraid to. I have not. I have gone to this day. It was yesterday.
Oh, honestly, Josh, I spent a lot of time with you.
I'm afraid.
I spent enough time with you, Josh, and I'm actually kind of happy that there's finally some type of a governor on you and farting. So, because actually, this is a
teaching you a lesson.
This is a win for every.
Listen, every human does it.
In America,
I'm not ashamed.
It's a win for every public eating space in America.
The problem is that my gas, like I hold it in. I'm sure this will pass. No pun intended. But I hold it in because I'm so afraid that it's going to happen in the parking garage incident. It's going to happen to me again. I'm deadly afraid.
I do.
Yeah, you do.
I have PTSD from this experience. I'm afraid I'm going to ruin another pair of underwear.
Diapers.
That's what I should have been wearing. So when I do this in 5 years, I'm getting Depends.
Yeah. Well, I think you wear it all day. You're sitting.
You should also get a hotel room.
Or stay upstairs with your iPad, for goodness sake. Like, I think that's your first mistake.
Dave, I was in there for hours. I thought for sure it was over.
Hours, but seconds too late. That's
that part. Yes.
So it's the right hours.
Yes,
right?
That is true. It was the right hour.
Diapers might be the answer. And it was just not too many podcasts ago where we talked about how we all felt like we're still 25. And then proceeded to talk about how we like to go to bed early. And now we're talking about our colonoscopies. I don't know. We might have the we're young guys at heart cards taken away from us.
I need to know from our listeners, especially the ones in Uganda, has this happened to you and your colon? Has anyone else had a similar experience, or am I the only jackass that ingested everything they told me to? Is everyone else just stopping going, that's enough? This doc doesn't know what he's talking about. Am I the only one that followed the rules to a T and now is paying for it or paid for it? I gotta know. I gotta know if someone else had this experience. It has to be somebody else, right? Am I the only one?
I'll put it in the show notes. What is the dosage?
You need to find a proctologist and ask.
It's not a proctologist.
Whatever their title is.
Gastroenterologist.
Sure.
This was it again.
I actually know one.
Four Docalux.
Hey, listen.
Followed by an entire 8.3 ounce bottle of Miralax.
Let's set up a Zoom call. I actually know one. We can interview them. That can maybe be our first guest.
That's our second guest. Your dad was our first guest.
Oh, that's true.
Yes. We will get I want a gastroenterologist on this program, and I want them to evaluate the ridiculous comical amount of laxative that my doctor made me ingest.
Maybe actually try and do this between the three of us. Let's actually see who can do it. You guys have better access to it than I do, probably.
Yeah, well, that's probably true, but I don't know if I want to involve my
I don't think I want
life into
I don't think
this conversation.
My employer
I got it.
weighing in on whether I should have or should not have shit myself. Whether that's normal.
Yeah.
By the way, what a disgusting feeling that is. I don't know if you've ever done that. That's the first time I've ever done that. That is disgusting. I mean, it's vile. It makes you feel. And especially when I did it in the parking garage and couldn't get cleaned right away. I had to wait to get home. I'm like, I could not get home fast enough. I'm like, telling my wife, like, drive faster. I have to get in the shower so badly.
Was she laughing the whole time?
Yes, of course. She's laughing.
She was? Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's laughing.
But did the car smell really bad? It must smell.
I don't know. I didn't ask her, but I did say I as I'm walking in the garage and I passed gas, I said to her, I go, "Oh no," and she goes, "No way." I said, "Yeah, this just happened."
I would have loved to have read the transcript of all the things that you said in the car on the way home.
Here's the transcript. Hurry, hurry, faster. I need to get home.
Yes, I'm. That's well. So and you haven't had the prostate exam then yet, right?
No, I haven't had that exam yet. I should have that. That's obviously much easier. I think I'm going to, just for shits and giggles, no pun intended, going to take that much laxative right before my prostate exam and see See if the doctor
says. Or tell him to duck. By the way,
Yeah,
I think you set the record of like 40 puns in that whole story. It was
a lot of puns.
Yeah, you really hit the pun button by a lot. But I just, my experience the first time, I just had that happen for the first time. He said, well, it's time for you. You're old enough. You have to do this. And I was like, oh, seriously? And what he said after that, I was curious, like, what do doctors normally say after that?
Yeah.
My doctor said, don't worry, I have small fingers.
Oh, my God.
So I was like, well, I suppose
that's interesting.
And then I thought, yeah, that's true. My dad, who's got like hot dog fingers, like if you were a proctologist,
oh my God,
it would be the worst. So I was like, well, thank goodness. I suppose that's a good thing.
But maybe his fingers are way too small that he can't even reach your prostate with them.
There is a
they're long.
having big fingers. There's a guy, but there's a really wealthy guy in Los Angeles who was a back surgeon, but he's a huge dude. So because he had such big hands, he created his own tools to actually work on spines during surgery, and he patented them, and ultimately he sold his medical supply company for like $10 billion. But so in that instance, having big hands as a doctor was actually a good thing.
Yeah, that was a weird segue, but okay.
No,
all right.
There's hope for hot dog fingers.
They have a really cool thing. They had like a $50 million reward for anyone who could figure out ways to spade dogs and cats. Non-surgically.
Yeah. Okay. But are you just do you have some sort of Tourette's going on right now, or you're just saying whatever pops into your head? Is this topic Tourette's? I don't understand what you.
Should we get to the reader mail?
Oh yes, please. Yes.
Okay, so the email is from Diamond Hands. I don't know who that even is, but it is. What has been the most surprising part for you guys in terms of who listens to you or the experience?
It doesn't sound like you're reading anything. It sounds like you just made that up. You know, normally when there's something to read, it flows very easily, the actual question. Yours tailed off as if I just made up this email.
Well,
no.
Diamond Hands, just the thing that came to your mind. That
was, dear Diamond Hands.
Dear Lamp Cup.
That didn't go over so well. I
no.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
That was the question that you made up. That was
the worst question too. On top of it,
the most surprising thing is what just happened. Josh's story in this email.
Listen, they all can't be home runs.
I owe it to this podcast. We should be sharing everything on this podcast. That's what we should be doing.
Yeah,
we should be
that's right. And
being vulnerable. I'm being vulnerable. Look, it's a human activity. Everybody does it. Everyone's got to go through it. I just happen to talk.
You're breaking down barriers. Yeah, people are fearful. And actually, my colonoscopy, I wouldn't want to have it. And I said on my other podcast, which probably is surprising that statement just is true, but it is true. I said, if the Packers win 4 in a row to start the season, I'll get my colonoscopy. And sure enough, they did. So in a way, the Packers saved my life.
Why? Did you have something wrong with you?
I just didn't want to, and I was talking to the guy.
But it didn't save your life. You didn't have anything wrong. You had a clean bill of health.
No, I had a polyp, and maybe it could have turned into something.
Oh, that's true. It can. It can turn into something. That's why you do it early, so it doesn't turn into something. Okay. So
I drew a line in the sand, and I bet you if they wouldn't have, I think I would have been like, I'll get it eventually. But I actually said it on the podcast, and I had people write in and say like, it's good, you got to do this, and so then I was like, all right, I'll do it. And I probably talked about it on my podcast. So this is
all right. But you didn't shit yourself. There was nothing embarrassing about it other than you went in for the typical routine. I was like 99.9% of people, unlike me.
I was as dignified as royal family. It was if you could almost televise the whole thing. It was so clean. But yeah.
Such is life. Life experience.
I do wonder, like, if we had a sponsor, who would the sponsor be?
Maybe Dogalax.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
after this
what's
show.
that one thing that Shaq wears with we put up for pain relief? Icy hots.
Yeah, Icy Hot.
Yeah, he does the
Do those things even work? By the way.
I don't know.
I've used Icy Hot. Yeah.
And is it effective?
Yeah, it gives you
distracts the pain, I think, by
That's what it
cooling your
does.
skin. I
That's what
don't
it
think it
does.
does anything
That's what it
under
does.
the skin.
That sounds like what it feels like to be in a car with Josh for 20 minutes.
What? I don't even understand that.
I have to think what
distracts the pain.
That's it.
Oh,
Well,
wait,
maybe that's a compliment. He just complimented. You distract Omar's
I distract the pain.
internal
All right.
pain.
Oh, yeah.
By soothing his skin.
Again.
Yeah, I think you missed the mark on that one. It's
It's
all right. It's okay. It happens.
If you're gonna do bits at the end here and also insult my topic,
Yes.
something's got to give. Either you got to be razor sharp with these bits, or you got to leave my topics alone.
I think Omar dropped all his 3x5 cards and they came up shuffled.
Hey, Josh, is there a back to your chair? Dave has such a comfortable looking chair.
There is no back. I'm on a stool.
Oh, I am too.
And yet another pun.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Yes.
Fine. I'm gonna go back and count them all. It's
Count them all.
Unlucky 13.
You can call this episode the craptacular.
All right, it's going in.
Yeah.
Going in. Yeah. Well, guys, should we wrap it up for this week?
I think so.
All right. Well, thanks for bearing with us. What a show! What a show! It's
a good one.
Free. It's free. Well, on behalf of Josh and Omar and all of our sisters out there, thanks for listening. See you later.
See ya.
Bye-bye, everyone.